What's going on, guys? Brendan here, and today we're going to talk about all the things I wish I knew when I first started in photography. So recently I've been thinking back to when I first started photography, what I wanted to do with it, and how it transformed from something kind of fun and just because I felt like doing it into something that has become a career for me. So in this video, I wanted to talk about 11 things that I wish I knew when I first started in photography. So the first thing I wish I knew when I started photography was that you don't actually have to shoot weddings or family photos to be successful. Now, immediately when you first pick up the camera and you start getting good at it, there's probably a friend or family member that says, "Wow, you should start shooting weddings." Or, "Hey, you're pretty good at that. Do you want to take my family portraits?" And then you end up getting stuck into this funnel of thinking, hey, that's the only way I can make money in photography. And for many people, those are the types of photos that they actually want to take. Now, you may be sitting at home thinking that you want to pursue photography, but you don't want to shoot weddings and you don't want to shoot family portraits, so you don't know what's out there for you. Now, the thing that totally changed my perspective on this is when someone told me to actively look at how many photos you see every day. Every day, no matter where you are, you're gonna see thousands and thousands of photos online, out in the stores, on billboards, on your phone, wherever. You're gonna see a photo of some kind, and somebody has to take those photos. So when you think about it that way, there is literally a niche in photography for anything you can possibly imagine. You just have to go and find your way in there. Now, that has to do with networking, which we're going to talk about later on. The second thing that I wish I knew earlier when I started photography is to not compare myself so heavily against other people. Some people have been doing it for years, some people are fresh to photography, and you can't compare someone who is a day into taking photos to somebody who's been taking photos their entire life. Obviously, the person that has taken photos their whole life is going to take better photos because they have more experience. Just because person B can take better photos right now doesn't mean that person A can't take better photos in the future. It just takes a little bit more practice. You just have to dedicate your time and concentration into your own work. The more time that you spend feeling down and bad about yourself because you're not taking photos like somebody else, the more time that you're wasting not putting that energy towards your own work and improving yourself. I personally think the best way to look at other photographers that you feel like are better than you or something like that is to not look at them and be like, wow, they're so much better than me and I'm worse than them. Look at them and say, wow, I really love what they're doing here, and draw some inspiration from that to use in your own work. Now that leads me into step 3, which is learn how to take criticism better, because as you're learning and you're changing up your style and you're trying out different techniques, you're constantly evolving, and people are going to love and they're going to hate your work no matter what. Even in 50 years from now, you've taken over the photo world, you're doing everything you want to do, there is still going to be one person who still criticizes your work and says, yeah, that's not a good photo. So you gotta just deal with it and learn how to take the hits as they come to you. Now, the thing with criticism, it's really easy to get down on yourself and think, oh man, that really hurt my feelings, and start to feel bad about the work that you're creating. But in reality, criticism is mostly said by people who want to help you and want to see you do better. But with that being said, it's important to know the difference between constructive criticism and just negative criticism, because negative criticism is the kind of stuff that you just want to block out, because the people who are giving you negative criticism aren't going to help you in any way, and those are the people you don't want to waste your thoughts on. So here's 2 examples of constructive criticism versus just plain mean criticism. So in the first example, somebody says to me, hey, that doesn't look too bad, but it looks a little overdone in this part. Maybe you should tone that down a little. Now, in the second example, someone says to me, yeah, that looks pretty over edited. I don't think that's a very good photo. Notice the very subtle difference between those 2 sayings. One person is trying to give you feedback to help you improve, where the other person is just shutting you down completely and just saying, no, this isn't a good photo. You're always going to run into both of these kinds of people, but you just have to learn which ones you can listen to and use to better yourself, and ones that are just going to drag you down. So being able to deal and manage criticism is a really important thing that I wish I knew when I first started photography. Now, going into point 4, this has a lot to do with Instagram and some monstrous social media trends that people seem to follow, but it's being unique to your own style and not trying to copy the exact same images as somebody else. The ultimate thing that you want to accomplish as a photographer is to have people look at your images and think, yep, that is exactly your image. There is nobody else who could have taken that photo. The thing that drives me nuts about Instagram and a lot of stuff on social media right now is everybody is kind of copying the same color schemes, the same sort of photo ideas, and there's not a ton of originality between a lot of mainstream creators. If you went and lined up 10 of their photos together, I would not be able to tell you the difference between all of them. I would just assume they're all by one person or another, and that's not the best situation to be in as a photographer. Now, finding your own style can be kind of a challenge because how are you supposed to pull a style that you like and looks really good out of thin air? The thing that helped me is to draw inspiration from other creators and take little things that each person does, try them out, blend them into your own work, and ultimately just do what you like. If there's one style of photo, one kind of shot idea or whatever that you really love to take, then just take those. And eventually, as you take more photos and edit more images, you're gonna kind of carve out your own style that's gonna be unique to you no matter what. I think ultimately it's just to try out new things and do things for yourself and not for other reasons like, oh, I need this photo to get a ton of likes on Instagram or whatever. Take a photo for yourself, edit it for yourself, and that is how you're going to create your own style. So now that brings me into topic number 5, which I wish I knew when I first started photography, and that has to do with networking. So now at this point, we've carved out our own style, we know what we want to shoot, we've grown as photographers, and now we are ready to take that step into turning our passion into a business. Now this next step is often overlooked by a lot of people, and that is networking face to face. There is nothing more valuable than talking to somebody face to face, introducing yourself, showing them your work, and getting on their radar. Sending people emails or DMs, you're gonna just kind of fly over their head and they're not really gonna remember you. But when you have a in-face conversation with someone, it's a lot easier to feel connected and build that trust in person. So they might wanna hire you in the future or recommend you to one of their friends who's looking for a photographer. When I was first starting in photography, I was really shy about talking to people face to face, and it was something I always avoided. And to me, now looking back, that's what I really regret doing. This year has been one of the most transformative years in my photography career, and it all has to do with face-to-face networking. And if it wasn't for the people and the relationships that I have, I would have never gotten the opportunities that I did this year. So if you're shy and uncomfortable about talking to people like me, just suck it up, deal with it, go to your comfort zone. Eventually it will get easier. But if you want to turn this passion into a career, networking face-to-face is the number one answer to getting there. Now that brings me into tip number 6, and that is shoot for your end goal. So if you want to shoot in action sports, if you want to shoot for high fashion, if you want to shoot food photography, you should go and shoot that right now. Don't wait, don't say, oh, that's something I'll eventually get to. Start doing it right now. There's no other reason to spend your time on something other than what you want to be doing. When I first started in photography, I was just kind of willy-nilly. I took whatever photos I felt like taking, and that can be fun, but if you're wanting to really dial in and improve your portfolio to leverage for work later on, it's really important to focus on your end goal and building your portfolio for those images. So for example, my end goal is to shoot in action sports and outdoor lifestyle. So that's what I spend all my time doing. I'm only ever shooting camping, hiking, climbing, snowboarding, any outdoor activity, I'm going to be shooting it. By doing that, I'm able to maximize the amount of great images I can put into my portfolio so that when I'm networking face to face, like I was talking about in the last point, I have more images to be like, hey, look at what I do. This is what I can do for you. And this is why you should hire me. That's something I totally didn't do when I first started in photography. I was kind of all over the place, like I said, but I think it's really important for anybody going forward wanting to pursue photography that they focus on the end result that they want to be at. Now, the 7th thing I wish I knew when starting to take photos is that working for free is okay sometimes. So there's a ton of talk online of know your worth and never work for free and all this stuff, and that's totally fine. And I think it's very important for you to know what your images and your work is worth. But with that being said, I think it's also very important to get your foot in the door with people, and there's no better way to do that than offer them something for free. Offer a free shoot, offer a free consultation, offer some kind of free package that you can offer a business or a person to showcase what you do and why they might want to work with you again in the future. The whole goal is that when you work for free for someone, you do it in anticipation to get hired on at the next job. By offering your services for free, you do a really amazing job, and they can't imagine to hire anybody else except for you on the next project that they have. It's a lot easier for people to take you on if you're offering your services for free. So it's a lot easier to get your foot in the door and get on people's radar once again by offering a free shoot just to show what you're capable of and what you can offer them. Now, with that being said, yeah, free shoots are really awesome and they're a great way to get started, but you shouldn't let somebody sort of manipulate you and say, oh, but you worked for free last time, why can't you do it this time? That kind of thing. So once you've done a free shoot, you can start to negotiate some prices that feel more reasonable to you and that you feel that you're not wasting your time with. Now, topic number 8 that I wish I knew when I first started taking photos is that gear truly does not matter. You can take an amazing photo with an iPhone, you can take an amazing photo with a GoPro, you can take an amazing photo with a Canon 1DX Mark II, you can take an amazing photo with a Sony, you can take an amazing photo with any camera in the world. It does not matter. Every camera will have its benefits in certain situations, and that's what you need to consider. If you only own one camera, then that's the best camera for your situation. You shouldn't go way out of your means to rent something or buy something new just because you feel like it might do a better job. Now, let's say you have the option between a GoPro and your regular DSLR, and you're going to be doing tons of underwater stuff, then maybe you're going to want to opt for the GoPro because an underwater housing that you don't currently own for your DSLR is thousands of dollars. So boom, the GoPro is now the better option. There's so many people who get caught up in the fact that, oh, this camera doesn't have as many megapixels. Oh, this camera doesn't have good autofocus. Oh, I don't like the interface on this camera. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. If you like one camera more than the other, then use that one. If you like Sony's better than Canon, then use a Sony. If you like GoPros better than DSLRs, then use a GoPro. If you like just taking photos on your phone and you couldn't be bothered with taking around your DSLR, then use your iPhone. It really does not matter. The only time that you'll want to consider gear is when there's specific requirements for the image. So say it needs to be super large for a billboard or large print or something like that, then you're going to want to opt for something that has higher megapixels, higher resolution, and sharper glass. But if you're just going to be posting stuff online, on social media, on your blog or whatever, most of the time the camera is not going to matter. You'll still be able to get a really great image that you can be proud of. When I first started out, I remember thinking, oh, I need to have the biggest camera of anybody else so I can flex on everybody and say, look at how big my camera is compared to yours. But in reality, it doesn't matter. Just take what works for you. Now that brings me to tip number 9, and that is don't be afraid to fail. I used to be completely petrified of failing and not having a good result at something, and that's something that actually ended up hindering me in the future. When you fail and completely suck at something, that is when you learn the most, and that's when you get better. If you're always good at something and people always tell you, wow, your work is amazing, you can't get any better, then you're never going to improve. You're always going to just stay at this plateau. Now, if you try something new in your work and you totally bomb at it, that's fine because you can regroup and say, okay, well, this didn't work, here's why, and here's what I can improve for next time. So try not to look at failure as a negative thing, but more as an opportunity to grow from where you are right now. If you're wanting to improve as a photographer, if you're wanting to improve your business, you need to fail to learn so you can improve. So that's something I really wish I worked on and wasn't afraid of when I first started taking photos. Now, tip number 10 is to surround yourself with people who inspire you. If you're constantly surrounded by people doing amazing work, who are always motivated, who are always trying new things, who are always excited and wanting to help you grow as a person as much as you want to see them grow, that's when you're always going to perform at your best. Now, I don't know if you've heard this saying before, but you are the sum of your 5 closest friends. Now, when you first think about that, you might think, nah, I don't believe that. But if you think about it a little bit deeper, think about your 5 closest friends, think about what they are doing right now, and think about if you're doing something similar to them at this moment. Now, if I think about the 5 closest people in my life, all of them are very goal-driven, extremely motivated, very supportive of their friends, and they're always looking to grow or improve themselves in some kind of way. Those 5 people have kind of rubbed off on me over time, and I feel like I'm starting to share the same traits as them. Now, I'm not trying to say that your best friend from high school that isn't doing the same thing as you isn't a good friend for you. That's totally not the case. They don't have to be doing the same career or anything like that. It's just you want to surround yourself with people who motivate you, inspire you, and make you excited about what you want to pursue. The more time you spend around people like that, the easier it is to feel self-motivated and want to push yourself further in your work. Now, the last thing I wish I knew when I first started is the importance of having a mentor. Now, a mentor is somebody who has already walked the path that you're trying to find and helps you to lay the groundwork to get to your end goals. Now you may be wondering, how do you even find a mentor? Because there's obviously no job applications out there for mentorships, but mentors will often come into your life just randomly and kind of unexpectedly at times. The three mentors that I've had in my life are a friend, somebody I've randomly met on a plane, and a client who has taken me under their wing. All of these people offered me different insights and opportunities that I wouldn't have understood or wouldn't have gotten without them. In my opinion, mentoring is the fastest way to improve your work in your business because you're learning from somebody who already knows best, who's already a professional at it. Now, if you're kind of sitting there wondering, wow, I wish I had some kind of mentor in my life right now, and you can't think of anybody who's maybe helped you out along the way, then the best advice I could give to you is to just talk to people doing awesome things. Ask them questions about their business, ask them questions about how they did things. Most people love to share and talk about themselves, especially when it comes to stuff they're proud of, aka their business. So by asking them questions, they'll be more than happy to share some insight with you and maybe offer some advice that you can use towards your own work. Now, those are 11 things that I wish I knew about when I first started in photography, and I hope that you can use some of this stuff in the new year to help yourself grow and reach those goals that you're trying to accomplish. Now that's all I have for you for today, but if you want to see more photography goods, then make sure to hit the link down below and check out my latest blog post on bewillcreative.com. If you have anything that you feel like I missed or something that you've learned that has helped you a lot, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say and hear what types of things have benefited you in your career. Now the ultimate takeaway from all of this is just to remember to do what you want to do. Comparison is the thief of all joy. If you're doing something that's true to what you really enjoy, and it's going to naturally carve out a path to where you want to be. So with that, my name is Brendan, and if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like button and also consider subscribing to stay up to date with more photo goodness like today's video. And with that, I'll catch you back here next time. See you then.